What is up, comic fans?
Hey, welcome, my crypto comics compatriots, to Creating Comics with me, your host. I'm Matt, aka I'm Scott Russell. In this series, we are building a comic from the ground up. Today, we're actually working on the title card. My guest is Andrew Fry. Say hi, Andrew.
Hello.
Hi.
You probably know me from my work on commercials.
Before we get into that, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so you can get notified whenever we create a new post. Also, it would be extremely helpful if you could share the video out as well. And don't forget to chime in on the chat. We'd love to hear from you. In fact, by adding some ideas in the chat, you can get listed as a creator of the comic. So let's take a quick recap of where we are. So as you can see, what we've actually done so far is we've created what's called the Bible. Now, the Bible is everything about the comic, how the characters are going to interact, how each character, looks and feels and all that kind of stuff. We get a good sense of the character. That way, as we're writing it, we don't, break character. Okay. We also got some great tips on the kind of character design as far as everything about the characters from Valerie Finnegan, if you remember that video. And the last two videos that we've done, we've been creating some characters and some character designs. So, shall we show that off, Rye?
Dude, this is your show. Okay. I'm just here for the sex appeal.
All right,
ladies,
hold this up. Okay, right here we have the character Poseidon and Brian, the astronaut from Joe Spicer, Starcross Comics. Amazing creator, great guy to work with.
Handsome as Lord knows, man.
I
good looking fella.
Everything that this guy has done. As you can see, he's created a really cool concept for Poseidon with like the treasure map. He's got the hooks, just this big bulking massive god. So I gotta love it. Then also we have Hades.
Slow down one sec. Slow down. You got a bunch of people in chat. You're not even noticing. House Lorebridge on YouTube says, "Hey guys, what's up, House Lorebridge?" Jason on Facebook says, "Hey guys, hello, Jason.
What's up, Jason?"
Jesse says, "Hey there, miss anything?" A lot.
Not yet.
This stream started out. Matt was topless. It was insane.
Yeah,
it was nuts.
It had to happen.
Jesse says, "LOL, love the Fry rules part." Hey. Fry wasn't supposed to be here tonight. I don't know if you guys ever watched Clerks. The guy's always like, "I'm not even supposed to be here today."
That's one of my
That's Fry right now.
Yep.
All right. But Matt doesn't know anybody else that makes logos, so.
All right. So what we have right here is Hades from Jeremy Burley, and I love this design. It's really absolutely insane. So we have the skull from a Titan that he uses as kind of a crown with the bottom jaw as a necklace. He's got that flame.
I'm going to play that drawing video really quick.
Please do. Yes, it's a time lapse of it.
Yeah, it looks pretty badass, man. I love watching Jeremy work, man.
Oh yeah,
such a beast. I can drink beer on this show, right? Sure I can.
This is a kid-friendly show, so
yes. Yeah, that is super cool.
I absolutely love just watching creators work and just the creative process of it all. It's so fantastic to watch. So throughout all this, he actually kind of inadvertently created a new character that we weren't expecting, but it just works so well. So as you can see, that staff that he's holding has a snake kind of wrapping around it. So we're going to add that snake as more of a conscience for him. Little Jiminy Cricket, if you will.
Nice. I like that. I like that idea. Yeah, his process is really fun to watch.
Same.
Just do that.
Both.
Just spend an hour watching Jeremy draw again. You do that? Somebody call Jeremy.
Both Jeremy and Joe. I love watching them work. It's just the creative process. You could just see like the creative juice is just flowing. It's so great.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. And both of them were just kind of steadily just coming out with more and more ideas as they went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was pretty rad. It's crazy. All right, so let's keep going. Let's get into this.
Okay.
What are we doing today?
All right. So what we got going on today is we are going to be creating the title card for the comic. Now, in order to come up with the title card, we had everybody submitting ideas for names of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
And let me see if I can pull this up. It looks like we do have a winner, and it is Abnormal Oddity, which won the Facebook poll by 66.7%. So,
damn.
Oddity it is. And Nobody Illusion was the one who submitted it. So, if you're out there, send us just a quick,
what was that on Twitch or was that on Facebook?
Facebook. That was on Facebook. So, please send us your info so we can actually add you as a creator.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, once again, our special guest tonight is Fry, the creative director over here at Crypto Comics. Gotta love it. This guy is a busy man. Man.
This guy has had no time to prepare aside from 10 minutes before the stream. So
don't let him lie to you guys. 10 minutes before the stream, he was live, but he was still working.
Yeah, I was still working on something else actually, but still, that's okay.
He's a busy man, busy man. So, all right, we're gonna actually go over a few comics and get some ideas, okay, and just kind of talk about what we liked and what we, not what we don't.
Let's talk about what we don't like.
Okay,
there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Creative criticism is very important in this process, I think.
Right.
Without us knowing what we don't like, you're never going to really find what you do like.
This is true. So, let me pull this.
Ooh, my hair looks extra green tonight, boys. Woo, look at that.
All right. So, as you can see, first off, we have John Saul's The God Project. The one thing I really like about it, it's a nice, clean font. That yellow stroke around the outside gives it kind of a glowing effect. And the one thing I really, really like about it is the word "the" kind of fitting inside that G. Just gives it just a touch of class. I really like that. What about you? Yes, I said class. Every once in a while,
that's a touch of class, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I'm going to go further into that. I like the kerning that they used quite a bit, actually. The way that this font is set up doesn't naturally kern this way. So, you know what? I'm going to take a step back so that everybody knows what the word kerning means. Sorry. Kerning is actually going to be the space between two letters. So, for example, on this, if you look at the way the J and the E sit next to one another in the word project, the kerning is actually set to close in the gap between the two. Mm-hmm. And what they've done with this design is they've made it so that the spacing in between those two vertical segments of the J and the E actually have the same amount of even padding as the other letters would have between them. So if you look on the very base of the E and the hook of the J, you'll notice that small little gap there matches the amount of gap on the rest of the letters kerning everywhere else. Now, in order to do that, obviously, they had to connect the top of the J and the E together. What this does is it adds what's called the line weight, so that when the human eye looks at something, it's going to look from left to right naturally, just because that's how we read. Now, some other cultures, some other languages, they're actually taught to read right to left. This would still apply, just think of it in the opposite. So if you look at the word project, you're going to see that the weight is higher up on the word, just because the curve in the P and the R are both going to kind of lean your eyes over toward that segment. And then your eyes will actually follow along with the J and the E being connected like they are, and no other letters being connected elsewhere. What that does is it centers the weight of the word right into the middle. And as you look directly up, that's where the center of the O is. So what they're doing is they're actually tricking your eye into C balance when there isn't one.
Okay. I like that.
Pretty well. Hey, OTDA is on the stream.
Yeah.
Oh, man. OTDA, what's going on?
And we also got Rose back from the UK. How's it going, Rose?
Rose, where are you? Oh, I love Rose.
All right. So next, we have Humanoids from the Deep. Now, just a quick look at it. This is also from Tidal Wave. I don't know if I mentioned the first one about John Saul's The God Project being from Tidal Wave. This is also from Tidal Wave. Here we have just a classic horror movie feel, which is kind of recreated in the cover art. I mean, it just looking at that just reminds me of the old House of Mystery or like Haunted Horror. Do you remember those old comics, Brian?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It just has this feel. I love it.
It's like Swamp Thing vibes all over again.
Yeah, it is.
Amy Fraser on Facebook says Professor Fry showed up. That is true, Amy. And class has begun, so please pick up a pencil.
I will admit, Fry has taught me a lot just by working with him. I thought I knew everything, and then I met Fry.
So do you want me to start on this one, or do you want to go on this one?
Sure. No. I already kind of, put my 2 cents in.
Cool.
What about you?
Okay, so what I like about this is the font selection that they've used, first of all. The outline and the stroke that they're using. For those that don't know, the stroke is the white segment of this. It's kind of, you can call it an outline, but the outline would be the overall area. Yep. The stroke would be just the white. I like how they've used that just because the whole outline actually craters inward towards the bottom. That gives it a nice, heavy, kind of a baseline to go off of, and it focuses on the art beneath. I like the coloration that they've used, like obviously part of the swamp creature there in the background. The other thing that I really dig about this one is if you look at the cap of the T and the I, they're a different weight from one another, meaning the thickness. That definitely showcases that someone took some time and some focus either on the creation of the font, or if this was a handmade logo, definitely on that. But my favorite part of it, to be honest with you, is how the lettering is what's called disturbed. What that means is, like, if you look at the D on the word deep, I'm not sure if you can zoom in. You might have to so that people can see what I'm talking about. On that, there you go. Thank you. As you can see, it almost has like a brushed appearance to it, meaning that it's got that rough texture over it. I'm really digging that as part of that font selection.
Okay.
Very nice.
All right. So next.
Wait, no. You got to go back. You got to talk about what you thought. Come on, man.
I did. I was just talking about how I loved it, how it has that horror movie vibe to it. And the one thing I do like about it is essentially the O, like on from, is skinnier than the U. So, I mean, it just kind of everything is a little off, which really adds to that feel of just the kind of horror movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm really digging that. Real quick in chat, let's see if these guys can get it. And you too, Matt. Do you think that this is a hand-drawn font, or is it a font from a computer?
I think it is a font from a computer, personally.
Okay. What do you guys think, chat? I want to know what the chat thinks.
Oh, yeah. Now, my reasoning behind that is if we look at the E, it's identical to this E as well as this. So it might be something that they've actually created on their own, like created their own separate font. But I don't believe this entire thing is hand-drawn.
Yep. So actually the E's are the telltale sign. When you have two letters that have that exact same weight and what we'd call brilliance in design, brilliance means the overall structure of an element. That's a telltale sign. Nobody can by hand can make two things absolutely identical to that point. Now, some people can make things very, very close. For example, somebody forging a signature. However, the problem with doing something like this is if you look very closely at the E, you're going to see that it's got that rough texture at the tip of the center. And on that center line, that's definitely how you can tell, because that one little dot coming off the tip wouldn't be there if it was drawn by hand.
Okay.
Yay!
All right. So next up, we have Morningstar.
Real quick, though, Jesse Hansen in chat says one-off comment would be that the point of the D shouldn't be in her head. I am going to disagree on that. The only reason I say that I would disagree in this specific facet is that it's already overlapping his head. And so that kind of keeps the character centered. But normally what Jesse is saying is, yeah, you wouldn't ever want to cover any part of a main character, especially on the cover with the font. However, on this one, I think that the reason that they're doing that is to try to give that font even more of a feel of the moisture that you see on top of the kind of swamp monster there on the right.
Okay.
So it's all or nothing, man.
All right.
Blue One himself in chat says, hey, yo.
Hey. All right. So next off, we have Morningstar. Now, one of the reasons I love this one is because it has that the Western Sheriff badge at the bottom with the angel wings coming off of it, right underneath that Morningstar with that really Western font. So it's really playing up the whole Western, along with the deity or the how do I word this? Along with the angelic aspect of it. And the one thing that I love about this is that if you actually scroll down just a little bit, you can see that it actually changes color depending on the lighting in order to match the comic book. So I really love that.
All right. I love the fact that the stroke itself is uneven from top to bottom. So the subheading there, before he was the devil, he was ... First of all, the stroke on that is a different weight than anywhere else. I love that because it draws your eyes to different elements without even thinking about it. I like the fact that he's actually using 4 different fonts inside of this logo, and those fonts match up well enough that most people probably wouldn't even notice it. Clearly, the name, Jeremy Burley and OpticHouse.com are clearly a different font, but the other two just work together so well that I don't think people would even think about it as they scan through. The 4th font is, of course, right there in the center as part of that badge. The next thing I like is how he's taken the stroke around the word Morningstar, and he's done a blue stroke, and then again outside of that an additional white stroke. And I like the fact that he did that additional white stroke just to match the top and bottom elements, but he distressed the edges of it just enough that it throws that weight and it throws that visual balance off, which I really dig.
So I have a question for you. Back when I was actually going to school, They always said never use more than, say, 2 different fonts. Now, how come it works so well here, where it wouldn't work so well in something like a newspaper?
So in something like a newspaper, the original reason why you would only want to use, 2 fonts is actually not because of a design element or anything visual by human eyes. That was actually done because typography setting used to be set by hand. And if you needed to use more than 2 different fonts, it made it very, very easy for whoever was running the print press to mess up and lose keys. Key would be a letter at that point. So that's actually where that kind of rule of thumb comes from. Secondary to that, in a digital age now, that's kind of representing itself. For example, websites will tend to only use 2 fonts, and we call that a font pairing. But the primary reason for that is for speed of loading. That way your internet browser only has to load 2 different fonts in CSS.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird little tidbit. A lot of people, though, are just so used to only seeing a couple of fonts that, it just becomes natural, and that's what you expect to see. However, there are a lot of companies out there who actually create their own fonts just for their branding, and they will use only their own fonts. For example, Apple. They use their own font named Cupertino, and they will sue the crap out of you. There is, let's see, Hasbro is very, very famous for this. What they will actually do is, for example, G.I. Joe has its own font series. There's actually 3 different fonts that are used. There's the main font that's used for the logo, and then there's a primary and a secondary font used for all of their branding, all their packaging, even their cartoons use those same fonts. Now, the reason for that is more just for brand recognition. You see those fonts, you feel confident, you feel comfortable. It helps you build trust. And that's exactly what that brand wants. They want you to see something and be reminded of that element. Jesse Hansen in chat says, same with Coca-Cola. That's a very good one. Yeah. Because anytime you see anything in that font, you recognize that font and you become comfortable with it. You become complacent in thinking about that and in good, happy things. That being said, some are actually used to go against that idea and that idea of comfort. I want to say the next comic that you're going to show actually does that to me.
Really? Okay.
Yep.
Let's take a look. It is.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So, Bastards of the Universe. Now, we're not going to dive too much into this particular comic, but I do want to point out their title card. So right here, it's got that chrome, bold, kind of that university type font, with a slight bevel. So, Fry, I've noticed that you hate bevels in general.
I hate them with a passion.
I try to add something to every picture I'm sending over to Fry just to see if he'll catch it. And almost every time he catches it, and I catch hell for about a half an hour, and I can't stop laughing. So while he's yelling at me. So tell me about this.
Tell you about why I hate it?
Why is bevel so bad?
Because I have yet to see a fake bevel that looks realistic to the human eye. That is why I dislike it. What that does is intrinsically it causes doubt, it causes question, and that creates a lack of trust. For example, like on this one, and I'm just going to be right out front, like I love this comic book, so please don't anybody take anything I say, the wrong way when
I do have to say this is a great comic. It is funny, but when you read it, don't yell at me.
So here's the things that I dislike about this. One, the kerning on the subset of the universe is just awful. I know that the reason that's done is because they wanted to try to match the Masters of the Universe layout and font selections. So I get why they did it this way, but it's terrible. It needs to be widened up between the words, very, very badly. Reason being is that if somebody has like reading issues, things like that, they're going to have a really difficult time recognizing that there isn't a space or that there's supposed to be a space in there. Now, further, that's added on top of the words of the have a different kerning, a different spacing in between them than the and universe, which is driving me absolutely crazy right now. I don't even like looking at it, even though I love this comic book. Secondary to that, if you look at the word bastards, every letter is making a connection with that overlaid stroke. That means the dark shadow that's coming out from underneath it, except for the T and the A, which again causes your eye to look at specific segments of it and lose trust inside of there. And then on top of that, everything on here has that big, giant, heavy drop shadow, except for the copyright on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And that copyright is still shaded just like the rest of the logo, which should be inferring that it has a significant quality to it, where it should also have the same depth and weight as the rest of the logo. And that doesn't. And that is why it always bothers me.
Okay.
When you put that stuff on everything.
I do on purpose, actually. Most of it is about 90% of it is on purpose. There's once in a while I'm like, oh, this actually looks good. And then I get yelled at.
But see, that being said, I use that in our own logo. So
yes. Kind of as a favor to me, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Okay. So next we have Roundhouse Hooligans, which, this one, it's really cool. I like it because we switch the fonts from just a bold white roundhouse to a stylistic kind of cursive font with the rainbow gradient that's just tilted for hooligans. So, Fry, what can you tell me about this one?
I love it. This is one of my very favorite comic cards ever that I've ever seen. Reason being is I like the fact that they went with a very non-traditional route, especially with the font that's chosen for the word hooligans. If you look at that, the ascenders, which would be the top of the H and the top of the L, this is the section that goes from essentially, that there. So basically, that overall height of those elements is almost unrealistic in a way that they shaped it. They made the S dramatically larger than the N that was next to it. And what they did this entire time is they used it for an overall balance, whereas the word roundhouse was just very clean, very simple, very much just a regular font. Then they added in the the overall color palette that they're using for the word hooligans, used the cutout stature around the outside edge with the stroke there, and then kept the same weight of the shadow beneath the entire thing. I really like it. I think it's clean. I think it's clever. I also really appreciate the way if you pull out from the comic there, Matt. I like the way that it overlaps the art. And now that I'm saying that right here in chat, Jesse Hansen on Facebook says he doesn't like how it gets, overlapping on the art. But I'll explain to you why I like that is because the background colors of that orange are so close to the orange that's used in the base of the H. It adds an element to depth that catches my attention. And that's why I like it. The green on the G, as well as the base of the A in that transition to the blue, really separates itself from the woman's hair. And so I feel like it adds an element of height to a comic that would otherwise feel very flat. So that's why I like it.
All right. Yeah, this comic, you guys got to read it too. It's so awesome. So awesome.
Very good.
All right. Next up, you ready? Dreamkeepers. Okay. Now, Dreamkeepers, I love the subtle lens flares on it. They're very, like I said, very subtle. And I love how it skews outward. into a kind of a U shape, as you can see. I mean, it's just right there. But it also keeps the bottom flat. It incorporates the tail, of course, which is awesome. So, a little side note, I do love the design of the book that also goes along with every issue to include these metal corner protectors, which I've seen a lot used in, like, lately in, like, scrapbooks and stuff like that. So, yeah. All right.
Yeah, so
what are your thoughts?
Dreamkeepers, man, these guys are some of the best in the industry, hands down. So the color palette that they use really, really draws attention. It keeps everything that's in that orange and the red very, very, I hate using this word, dang it, very vivid. For those of you that don't know, this is published by Vivid Comics. So anyways, yeah, so I love the fact that they're using that almost overwhelming lens flare, and the way that they use it with a Gaussian blur around that outside edge, I think just keeps everything looking very, very good. But if you look very closely, they're actually using a black stroke with an additional orange kind of shadow coming out from from beneath the logo to really kind of offset it and add a lot more depth than what you would expect it to see. I like the fact that they've got the animal logo or animal elements into the logo with the kind of stripes. I don't know
with
if we call them stripes. Yep. And then the last thing that I really like about this is that this was actually one of the few logos where I swore it was digital, and this was actually all hand drawn.
Really?
100%.
Wow.
In fact, I have personally seen David sketch this out so quickly that it kind of blew my mind that somebody was able to keep lines that straight. And I didn't notice it until he pointed out, if you look really closely, the bottom of Dreamkeepers isn't straight. But I could have never told you that in 100 years without him actually pointing it out to me.
Oh, it does have a slight, yeah.
The K is actually taller, and that was something that he had actually mentioned had bothered him previously, but they left it in. So yeah, it's a very interesting logo. I think very few people would ever think of outlining, the stroke with white, and then another outline with the orange, and then an additional black stroke, and then the undershadow of orange, and then the lens flare and everything on top of that. But if you look through this book and go through the art styling, it very much matches the style of art that Dreamkeepers is known for.
Oh yeah.
And less so much for the logo. It's just that their art works really well for a logo.
Now, they do something really cool with their artwork that I haven't seen in a whole lot of other comics, and that's they leave their sketches in the actual image, in the finished product, which it just adds kind of a rougher feel to it, and it works so well.
Yep, and that was another thing that David actually pointed out to me that I never noticed, but if you look in the bottom of the D, it's got those same sketch lines still there. And I never noticed that either. Like, they're pretty sweet, man.
Yeah. Let's see. The Blue One himself says Dreamkeeper comics are magnificent. They really are.
Hey, Charlie Ascend is back. What's up, Charlie?
Yeah. Hey, Charlie.
Blue One himself says Dave is also very chill. This is true.
Oh, yeah. Let me see. Now I'm starting to think about this Cyberpunk 1227 idea, Dreamkeepers version.
Yeah. Heard about that one. Well, thank you for stopping by, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, we have one by Gypsy Leaf. Now, this okay, what I love about this one is the title and the info, like written down here, as you can see, are all the same font. It really takes advantage of that the old KISS idea. Keep it simple, stupid. Stop trying to overthink everything. And this really works because it doesn't detract from the frog, which is the main selling point for children. I mean, it is a children's story after all.
Exactly. And I think that's very important to note is that because this is a children's book and a children's story, keeping the logo, keeping the call out on all the fonts used through the book, all those kind of things, to something that is very welcoming and very inviting. And like Matt just said, yeah, very simple. What that does is that allows it to remain readable and legible for a younger audience and a younger reader. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's no reason to make a giant Disney logo and, you know, try to push and push and push to get a kid to understand what it says. Keep it simple. Sell some books. Get them reading. Let's go.
Yeah. All right. So way back when, let's give a little kind of history on our logo, which Fry, you created. So way back when, we started with EX Comics. That was Jared and I just going back and trying to come up with something on our own. I mean, we were hustling for years trying to get something.
Yeah, why don't you pull that logo up? Let's see that logo. Let's see. Oh God.
Yeah. Oh, if you notice, Fry, there's a nice.
Oh, I noticed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we do not like bevels. I'm going to hurt Matt's feelings here.
No.
This is what's going to happen. So I'm going to tell you what I do like. I do like the shadowing elements on it. I do like the composition and the weight and the layout. I do like the font that was used even. I don't like the kerning because the kerning wasn't adjusted from the fonts, and that O on comics seems a little out there by itself. Mm-hmm. Charlie Ascent says EX Comics, like comics made in Clip Studio paint EX styled ones. Sure. That's a better question for Matt. I do like the colors, the red and the black. Here's one thing that I was told by a very, very smart man who I'm pretty sure was in the chat earlier, but I'm not going to call him out because he'll get a big head if I do it. But someone once told me that the sign of a great logo is if you can frost it on glass and not need to change a single thing. So with that being said, if you look at like the EX Comics logo, if you frosted it on glass without the shadow, clearly, the glass would almost look dirty because of the outline of the typography. And I like that. I like that it's got that kind of gritty element to it. I think this would have actually been a very good logo if it was flattened in that aspect. I think it would have printed really well. I think it would have caught people's attention. And I think it would have worked really, really nicely. However, with the bevel, it adds that element of fake three-dimensional lighting that doesn't match the overall look. So the reason I say that is if you zoom in, we'll say like on the C of comics, and you look at the center point right there, right above your mouse, do you see how it's nice and smooth on the bevel's inside edge, but it's rough on the exterior of the C?
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that I talk about. The human eye sees those and recognizes that if the outside edge is that rough, there's no way that the top of it would ever be that smooth and that flat. So there just isn't any way for the light to be able to hit it and actually refract in that same, organized manner across the top. So the way that looks is that it would actually be smooth if you ran your hand across it, whereas the outside edge would just tear you up like a rough knife.
Okay. All right. So before I start to cry, we're gonna. So what we did was we were actually trying.
I got a mozzarella stick.
Oh, I'm proud of you. Shows initiative. So we were trying to rework it a long time ago. Once again, this is before we kind of partnered up with Apogee on all this, and so one thing that we created was an icon, and then we're going to use that font to actually do EX Comics and stuff like that. So we created the icon and gave it that metal look. So Fry, go ahead, tear me a new one on this.
I'm not gonna. I just think that it looks like an old Apple icon.
that was what we were actually going for.
Yeah. Especially being that during the time frame that you guys were throwing this together, it makes absolute sense. I think you did a really good job about making it so that the E looks like it's kind of laser etched out of the brushed metal. And there you have it. Okay. I mean, you designed something that would have worked out perfectly in the time frame that you guys were looking at doing it. Okay. Blue One himself just says the mozzarella stick is one of the finest moments of the stream. Thank you, Blue One.
All right, so we're going to actually come back to this type of design here in a few minutes, but once we finally kind of found the family with Apogee, and we actually turned it into Crypto Comics. The initial design, I believe this was by you, Fry, was right here.
Oh God, I didn't do that.
No,
Did I do that?
Yeah, this was something you just threw together just real quick. But I love that you can actually start to see where we're going with just the kind of design.
Yeah, so I think when we did this, we needed to hurry up and throw together a logo. We had officially started the business. We did not have a logo yet. For those that are not aware, if you cannot show that you are using a name, you are going to have a very difficult time trademarking it. So we threw together a logo, and I think this took me like 5 minutes, and I can definitely tell now that I look at it, and my God, this is embarrassing. So I'll tell you what, I've been ripping yours apart. Go for it. Get it, dude.
No, you know what? Actually, this one, it has a special place in my heart because it was, we could see where everything is starting to come together. We got the coin, the crypto coin there. We have the font, and we're starting to use the word bubble. So once again, this just has that special place in my heart because this is where it actually started to really come together for me. Now, here's the problem. Fry handed this to me and he's like, we're using this real quick, see what you can do. And I went back to that E, the icon, and I was like, how can we incorporate that feel, because we were still like we had so much stuff like kind of ready for it. So I screwed it up.
Yeah. So I think here this is a very important spot to note something, just so that everybody is aware. With a company, it is no different than a comic book. If you don't go through 600 or 700 damn revisions, then you're not trying, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
The first idea that you have may end up being the best idea, and I'm not telling you otherwise. However, I will say that you're not going to know if that first idea was the best one that you've had until you've thrown 10 other ones out the window.
Oh yeah.
So I can tell you, if you switch back and forth between this and the last one, I will definitely point out a few things that people hopefully notice right off the bat. So one, the shadow behind the word crypto is not carried underneath the word comics.com, which makes it very difficult for someone to gauge the weight. The speech bubble itself has kind of a cartoony, three-dimensional pillow, yet the shadow doesn't mold or round to that. The coin itself is flattened on the top, but not on the sides, and it's actually sitting off on the wrong angle when you look at the lighting and the lighting source that would be coming to it. And those are things that are carried through both of our logos that just didn't work out very well. Again, this is kind of what you do, though. You start out with a few different variations and a few different variables, and you get some ideas bouncing around, and you get going with things, and you come up with what you like and what you hate. I know my team can tell you flat out that the first thing I ask when I need somebody to review something, and I always have somebody review something, is I just tell them flat out, tell me exactly what you hate.
You did that today, actually.
Yep.
Sent out a whole bunch of stuff, and it was like, oh, okay.
Yep. So, the thing is anytime you guys are making a logo, anytime you guys are making a heading, anytime you guys, especially a comic card, I mean, that is your branding. That is your logo. That is every bit of a business as anything else. That's brand recognition. That's, they say don't judge a book by the cover. They're gonna. Everyone is going to.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that with a comic book, the top quarter is what you will see first. Not because it's more prevalent or more important, but because it's on a shelf and another comic is sitting in front of it and you only have this much left showing. So take your time. Make sure it's perfect. Make sure it's exactly what you want it to be. Make sure it shows what you need to convey. And I think that showing these old Crypto Comics logos shows you that at one point we were still trying to figure that out ourselves, especially with the color palette.
Oh,
which I know we'll probably get into, or if you want to now.
Well, no. Real quick, back on Skype. Not Skype, on chat.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. On chat, we have the blue one himself saying, that's not bad in my opinion.
Lies. House Lorebridge is laughing it up.
Yep.
Let's see. Rose on YouTube says, how did you think up the name Crypto Comics?
I believe that was Joe that came up with the name.
It was? Yep.
Okay.
I want to say it was actually Joe and Jared were on a call. Joe, for those of you who don't know, he's our president. He is one of those people where that man, if you had a notebook and you had the capability of writing down the ideas that comes through that dude's head, you'd fill the notebook in an hour, you would be exhausted, and you wouldn't want to speak to him for 3 weeks. That dude he really is. He's able to just bust it out. In fact, to my knowledge, and I'm gonna just spit this out, and then Matt, you can either confirm it or if you've heard something different. That's what's kind of great about it, is that Jared and Joe were on a call together. They were talking about e-comics. They were talking about everyone's comics. They were talking about the entire idea and how to make this work. Joe took that, kind of thought about it a little while, came back to Jared, said, hey, well, I've got a few other ideas. Let's round this out. Let's bounce it up. And essentially, Joe just at one point went, wait a minute, we're doing comic books on the blockchain. Blockchain is referred to as crypto. Let's see if Crypto Comics is available. It was. He bought it. That became our brand name. So
that's,
Let's see. Amy says, "Oh, Fry, you have no idea the amount of jokes." Oh, Jesus, I don't know how many ideas that he's had in the last hour. I'll bet you working with him for a decade, I haven't heard an hour's worth of his mind's ideas. Scott TV on Twitch. This one's interesting. My comic series logo changed 9 times before being printed.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yep, I can definitely see that. Scott, if you don't mind, share with us the name of your comic, man.
Yeah.
Love to hear it. Maybe check it out if I can. Maybe get it in the marketplace. That's what I'm supposed to say right there. I'm a guest today. I'm a guest today. Yeah. I don't work here. I'm just the artist. I'm the talent right now. I expect to be treated as such.
Oh, okay. All right.
I'll bring more
later, okay, Fry?
Okay.
All right. So after Fry and I, we were working on kind of the logo, spitballing a whole bunch of stuff back and forth, just more like sketches. And then Fry actually came up with the color scheme. And let's see, here it is, right there.
Hey, wait a minute. Top 2 on YouTube. Found you guys on YouTube. It's not very hard, Cordell. It's like Crypto Comics Marketplace. We're very proud of that. Cordell, what's up, man? If you want to join us, let us know.
Yeah.
Cordell here, just so that everybody knows. Cordell Cole. Actually, I don't know. Should I say that? Should I say C2 or top 2 comics? I'm not really sure. Anyways, we're going to do this. Cordell makes top 2 comics. Actually, if you look over Matt's right shoulder there's one of the badass preview issues.
Yes.
We had. I think that was from FanX, right?
Yeah, this is actually it's signed.
Yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, he's going to be doing a creator spotlight on Friday. So if you guys are watching, make sure you come back, introduce yourself to him. He is awesome. Oh, he says Cordell's fine. Nice.
I do have to say,
us talent, we're on the first name basis, Matt.
I'm going to be a character in his comic.
I know. I'm a little jealous of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's going to be the spotlight on Friday, 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. So,
Yes, sir.
Rose, for you in the UK, that's what, like 2?
3 a.m. I think it is.
I
We
thought
tried to look it up on that last stream. I'm never
Yeah.
going to get that right.
Either way, it's going to be in the middle of the night. So join us. It'll be awesome.
That's right. I'm huge in the UK, ladies and gentlemen. I'm like the Beatles. Only, I mean, not.
Are you guys going to be watching DC Fandom Part 2 on Saturday?
And I can't think how or what to watch. You know what? If you want us to, Rose, then we'll do it. I'm not giving Matt a way to back out.
All right, Rose.
Let's get
right now if we should do it.
All right, then we're doing it. Rose is asking where to watch it. Blue One himself says the cryptos. Oh, this is gonna turn into a meme. Be ready. So let's get back onto this though.
Okay. So once we had the color scheme actually set out, Bri, you created a logo, and I remember just looking at it, and I was like, "Nah, we're done. That's our logo."
Yeah. So the color scheme is actually. Do you want to go into that, or
no?
Go for it. Okay. So I was using color psychology and trying to come up with different ideas. So the 173C43, that's our primary color there. You'll actually see that that's the stroke around our logo. Most people think it's black, but it's not. The reason it looks black is because most of the logos that you see are in RGB for web format. But if you look at any of our shirts, you can actually tell that it's kind of an off black. Got a little bit of blue-green to it. What that does is that color is supposed to kind of carry more of a like a mentally soothing type of calmness to it. And it also invokes, reliability and building relationships. So a lot of our color palette actually revolves off of the blue-green spectrum just because of that. Because a huge part of this industry is building relationships. Going in and knowing that and noticing that nobody really ever used the color psychology of building relationships in their logos was very surprising to me. So I took advantage of that and ran. The 444, that's dark gray. Everyone kind of that's ever been in design or anything like that understands that what you do is you use that to make a devoid feel. Essentially, it's a color that stays hidden from visual appeal, and it keeps itself separate from others. What that does is it makes it so any of your other colors will appear more bright, more vivid, and catch your attention a lot quicker. The 3FB OAC, that is actually the most interesting color known to man because it is one of the few color codes that Pantone has jokes about, which actually that's something else we should talk about is Pantone. So Pantone is a company that accurizes colors, but Pantone actually calls this light cyan. However, they also call 7 other colors light cyan. These are the only colors that Pantone actually does that with, which is hilarious. And I've always thought that was funny, and I always wanted to use one of those colors in a design. And this is the first opportunity I had, so that's why we used it. So the word crypto is actually written out in this color. The main reason behind that, A, is it's an inside joke, and I'm much funnier to myself than I think I am to other people. But the secondary thing to that is that cyan is actually known for trust and dependability. That's the color psychology that's behind it. That's exactly who we are. Build relationships, build trust, build dependability, make a system that's trustworthy because it's built on blockchain, and everyone has to keep everything else honest on the blockchain. In fact, we don't even touch money. I'm not sure if people even ever realize that. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I wanted to make sure that conveyed into our colors. And then the FAE 596, it's gold, guys. It's gold. Everybody knows what that is. It's luxury, things like that. The thing is that when I see gold, I'm still turned into a 4-year-old, and I think about pirates. And when I think about pirates, I think about treasure. And the way that we built everything off on the blockchain makes it so only one person can own one copy of a comic book. So I thought of that as something valuable, which would be treasure. And the only color I could come across with that was gold. So gold.
All right. Quick note, real quick. Cardell, we just sent you an invite on Facebook, so join us.
Yeah.
You guys are in for a treat on this one.
Cardell's a beast. Rose says you guys gonna be watching DC Fandom Part 2 on Saturday, and I can't think of how to watch. Yes, we will, because you asked.
Yes.
So we're doing it for you, Rose.
All for you.
Oh, wait, I think we already highlighted that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Bad.
But
Bad guys. Sorry.
We'll go again.
Why do I gotta be Jamie? I mean, seriously, wouldn't I be more of an Adam? I think.
No,
I feel like I would.
already.
I don't even own a little. What is it? What is that hat called?
I don't
He
know.
wears. Oh man, thanks, Charlie. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Scott says, just played Jared. I'm the creator of the Flock comic, currently working on Indiegogo. Nice. We're gonna check that out, man. Thanks for jumping on.
Launching October 1st. Nice. Okay.
Digital White on YouTube says it's gold, Jerry. Gold. Ashley jumps on from Facebook. Cardella's the coolest. This is true.
Yep.
Very much true. I have personally felt a room lower by 22 degrees just because he made a phone call to someone in that room. Coolest ever. Let's see. Charlie says, because your voice is calmer and rational, which brings a lot of charm.
Oh. Quit sucking up, Charlie.
That is the first time in history that anyone has ever referred to me or any part of me as rational.
Oh,
That's not a joke. That's the first time ever.
Actually said that you were the exact opposite. Her exact words, I believe, were batshit crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And all I could say was, yeah, but that's Fry. And she's like, oh, I understand.
Norbert says he'd be Jimmy. All right. How do I ban people from the chat? Can I do that?
Don't you dare.
Charlie says Jared's more of an exciting tone, which fits him as Adam. I can't help it. I just think it's funnier that way. And
Jared,
Amy says Crypto Comics' birthday is Tuesday.
Oh, yes. That's
I think we need a kick.
This is all this entire week has just been kind of like really cool to see all these old Facebook memories popping up and stuff. And I actually sent you a message today, Fry. It is the 2-year anniversary that you and I were friends on Facebook, and I
expect flowers.
I was gonna send chocolates, but now I have to get flowers too.
It's like you don't even listen. It's like you don't even know me anymore.
Well, in all defense, it was chocolate rum. So,
that works.
Okay, all right, we're good. Okay. So yeah, Crypto Comics' birthday is Tuesday. That's insane to think.
Beast mode.
Yeah. All right. So now we've gone through the color scheme, and Fry sent me this after the day after he came up with the color scheme. Oh, looks like
Cardell, what's up, man?
What's up, Cardell? How you doing?
I'm all right.
Right now, we're just actually going over talking about the logo of the company and how it kind of evolved.
Oh yeah, I was paying attention to that.
All right. So your comic top 2, once again, it's up here.
Oh yeah.
Anybody can see it.
He strokes it every night before he goes to bed, Cardell. It's disturbing.
So what can you tell us about your logo? Like, what was the process in creating that one?
Well, I had to do a lot of thinking about what I really wanted, because my comic book is like a action fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
but each is based off of these military branches, and each one of these branches have their own insignias,
Mhm.
and their insignias are like shields, as they're in the shape of shields. So a lot of my earlier attempts, I would say, were based off of the idea of a shield,
Okay.
and I kept drawing it to try to keep figuring out exactly what I wanted. Um,
Right.
Eventually, I finally got down to the logo that I used. Um, and I decided to make it seem like it was shattering because of the story that's in the comic book. So it's like a lot of how the story plays out kind of incorporated into the design. And I had to do a lot of thinking of what would be most appropriate for that design based off of what happens in the comic book series.
Okay.
I love that. I
Yeah.
also love how you incorporate the issue number directly into it with just as much weight as you do everything else.
Oh yeah.
It's always really interesting to me.
And the funny thing is, I got that idea from manga because I love manga. So
It really does kind of show up in the art in the comic itself, that it has that manga feel to it, and I love it.
yeah.
So while we're here, actually, I was saying to everybody that I'm actually going to be a character in one of the comics. Can you give a quick tell us how they can become a character too?
Well, in order to do that, you'll have to become a patron on my Patreon page. It's $50. It's not it's not a recurring thing. It automatically recurs. So like what you would have to do is you would have to become a patron, a $50 patron. After that, I pretty much contact you. I ask for pictures of your front of your face, the side of your face, and different angles. I also ask you to give me a little bit of information about yourself, not overly private information, just like your personality, things you like to do, things with your sense of humor or whatever you want incorporated into that character. The character will have your name. The character will look like you, and I allow you to choose the power, but the power has limits. So I can't just you can't just say I want the ability to take over people's minds. That's too much. I could give you that, but it has to have some type of weakness behind it. And so in order to do that, you will become a $50 patron. In order to make sure that it doesn't recur before, like after, I would say a week after you become a $50 patron, you can either downgrade to a different level that has recurring rewards, or you can cancel. It's really up to you. But at the end of the day, all that's really needed is for you to become a $50 patron to get a character made of you. And I have a lot of characters that I still have to make. So yeah.
Yeah, I've added a link to, as you can see scrolling across the bottom, that is Cardell's Patreon page. Please go support this man. We need more comics from him. And
you can also check me out at top2 by csc2.com.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So let me see. Scott TV says, great idea to bring customers and fans be included in a comic. So, yeah.
Yep. And I enjoy doing it as well. I love creating characters. I have just about all the characters I've created, I have on my Instagram page. And that's where I post a lot of them at anyway. So,
yeah. You sent me those pictures of me as a character, man. I was so excited. I think I sent it to Fry. I was showing my wife. I'm like, I'm going to get a comic book. And they're drawn so well. So well.
Thank you.
All right. So, shall
Let's
we
get into it.
on actually designing the comic that we have, which once again, abnormal. Oh crap! What was it again? Hold on, I have to go look it up again. There we go. Abnormal Oddity. Okay. It was decided on Facebook using suggestions. Then we put them all up on a Facebook poll, and Abnormal Oddity won by 66.7%. So, our comic that we're creating, Abnormal Oddity, which is based on, it's kind of a sci-fi mythology comic. We start with some characters that are astronauts, essentially leaving orbit, trying out a new drive, and end up in a place where mythological creatures are real. So, what would be your guys' like first steps into actually creating this, the design for the letterhead?
I would eat a French fry for energy.
Okay.
Go ahead, Cardell. What's your first step, man?
What do you mean? Because you talking about on how I would go about designing it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh yeah. The first thing I would do is sit back and think long and hard, because I would have to know. You pretty much gave the gist of what the story is about, and what the idea is about. So, like right now, I kind of have some ideas forming in my head. That's usually what I do. I usually sit back and think about what's the most appropriate font, what I could do with that font, how I could play around with it, and so, yeah, the first step would be sitting back and thinking for me.
Okay. Fry, you just took over the screen. Were you trying to make an announcement there? What was that?
No, actually, that was entirely on accident. I was just trying to add the screen share in, and I forget that it just automatically pops it up. So, yeah. So now everybody's seeing an advertisement that is not coming out for another week. We are just going to pretend that didn't happen. Oh no! Everybody in chat's like, convention. There's a convention. Oh Lord!
Stay tuned. We'll talk about that all next week.
Let's hear. Ashley on Facebook says, "What age were you when you realized that this was your passion, Cardell?"
Oh gosh. Well, that started when I was really young. I was how old was I? I was still in elementary school. I remember I had a friend, and we used to take all types of comic books, specifically X-Men, and we would create our own little characters and steal like poses, because we wasn't good at drawing poses, so we would steal poses from the comic books and put it in our comic book. And then I remember when I was in high school and I had a few friends, and we all had it was funny, we were all artists and we all had our own specific characters, and we tried to do a thing where we put all of them together in the comic book, but it didn't work out. But it was fun nonetheless. But I mean, I was really young when I figured out that this was my passion. I always loved comic books. So
that's cool. Rose on YouTube says, then we thought about doing a comic with good things in it. There's a lot of comics with good things in it. A lot of very positive, uplifting comics. Like look at the death of Batman. I thought that was awesome. I'm kidding. Ashley on Facebook says, "Hey Fries, everyone, I told you that you sound like Seth Rogen." No, thank you.
First it's Jamie, now it's Seth Rogen. I love it.
I know. Is that kind of like somebody calling me a Muppet at this point? You know what I mean? Like,
You know, I'm sure
Muppet.
somebody will.
yeah, he's got. That's a yeah. You gonna laugh like a broken lawnmower. Thanks, Ashley. Thumbs up. You know, my mom always said I had a face for radio. I get why. Okay, so let's see. Oh crap! Everybody saw what I'm working on. Charlie says winter convention, allegedly, maybe.
I don't know what you're talking about. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Another day.
we might make an announcement later. All right, so abnormal oddities. I'm gonna go ahead and close that other Photoshop window out. Like I said, everybody, I jumped on the stream with last minute notice. I was working until the very last second, and
It really was. When that
left things open.
countdown was going, I was looking at him like, is it gonna stop working? We're about to start.
So Cordell says that he likes to sit back and kind of reflect, absorb it, think about it, put a lot of focus and stuff in there.
Mhm.
I am the complete opposite. What I do is I make like 15 copies of the exact same thing. I center and space them out inside of Photoshop or Illustrator, works as well. And then what I do is I start going through and I start playing with different fonts until I start finding a few that kind of start feeling a direction that I want to go with things. So for example, dude, I don't even know. I am not prepared here.
This is the part of the show where I get to just shut up.
That's
Yeah.
that's funny. That's funny because I usually like to draw mine.
Yeah, and some people, some people do. I think I tend to go digitally just because it's much quicker.
Yeah.
And for me to just kind of process a thousand ideas. However, at the same time, you may fine tune it with 7 or 8 different drawings. You know what I mean? It's especially depending on which tools and stuff you're using. If you got something like an iPad Pro with with Procreate, you can kind of do the best of both worlds and just blast through it really quickly.
Yeah.
So what do you, Cardell, when you say you just draw it out, are you like traditional, like the paper and the drawing board and all that stuff?
I can do it. I can do it that way, or I usually like to use my tablet though.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm in an area where I'm unable to use my tablet, then like letterheads and logos is one of the things that I can do on paper very well as well. So I just like to draw it out to get an idea of how I want it to look. And then there's so much freedom. There's so much you can do when you draw it out and stuff.
Yeah, the downside is that I do design for a living, which means that even if I'm like, oh, I just want a sans serif font, I've probably got like 700 on this computer right now. So, you know what? You know which one I think I would like? Called Evolve. Let's see here.
So once again, chat, if you guys have any ideas, please let us know so these guys can, kind of start to work with it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever had to design in front of a live studio audience before?
Yes.
I haven't. This would be my first. Like, if I was drawing right now, it would be my first time.
I do it for fun. I break into local high schools and well, technically I didn't break in, I guess, but
I'm just picturing you holding an entire high school like assembly hostage. You will watch me draw.
Okay, so Cardell, just so that you know, Matt here is a high school teacher and has asked me to go in and judge design competitions in front of his class and talk to them. So
that would be interesting.
He's just making me sound like a complete jerk. Let's see here. It could be kind of cool to do something with like a Courier, which is a very familiar font, but just kind of rough the crap out of it. What was that other font? 1942. You remember that font? That one looks kind of cool. Got kind of an
That kind of
X-Files feel
typewriter
to
font?
it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going through a bunch of random fonts here. So I chose that Trojan color, that secondary one, just because it kind of, I don't know, has a little bit of a Greek feel to it. I think with that wonky, weird-ass bevel. I know. I got to use the bevel. You like the
I
bevel.
didn't want to say it.
So yeah, the main thing that I'm looking for, like as I go through and choose these, is very, very technical. I needed a degree to figure this out, but the first word is abnormal, so I'm looking for abnormal fonts.
Yeah. That's hard work, huh?
I would just like to go ahead and thank my master's degree for that knowledge. Let's see here. I don't know. What do you guys think? Start coming up with some ideas. What about chat?
Come on, chat.
Chat
Should we
isn't saying
go
nothing.
like a nice big bold one, something clean, or
Something absolutely ridiculous?
Yep.
Myanmar? Oriental?
Keep that up. We're gonna go with like Wingding or something like that.
Dude, I'll totally do it.
Times New Roman.
You shouldn't have asked me to be on this show. I just want to apologize to everyone in chat. I have not eaten all day and I am starving. So I'm eating cold French fries. Please don't hate me.
Yeah, well, we're actually getting ready to start the show. I'm watching him work and I'm just eating. Like, this is entertaining.
I mean, someone around here has to get something done. Ooh, sick burn.
If that's what you call it. Okay.
All right. I don't know. Come on, folks. Let's get some weird ideas here. See, I'm starting to choose the same dang fonts now.
Well, that doesn't help us.
Let's see. So there's another tool that I actually really like for this. It's called the font. So this one's really kind of fun.
Oh yeah, I use Font Squirrel.
Font Squirrel is actually also very good. What was it? Abnormal Oddities?
Yep.
Right? So what you can do is you actually place in what it is you're wanting to use, and it gives you real-time display of it using different fonts. Kind of think of it like a cheat sheet.
Yeah, I like that.
Really kind of cool. So this one's kind of neat. This Kinnaman, it's kind of a darker feel to it, though. This offset weight and offset baseline like that gives you kind of the heebie-jeebies. If we're going kind of for something creepy, that's a good way to do it. This guy down here is City Player. If we are designing this to go on the back of an Echo Unlimited jacket, we are set. I kind of like this one here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
What was that? Houston. It's almost got kind of a luxurious feel to it, whereas at the same time, it's offset weight and everything like that. Kind of reminds me of some of the old pillar carvings. Let's see. Charlie asked, do those fonts also apply to New Vegas Pro 2? Yes. You can use them across anything. It is a TTF download. So you can even put it on like your iPad and whatnot.
Well, something spacey or Greeky.
Greeky.
Yeah.
I love that. Greeky. Well, this is kind of funny. I know it's not intentional, but if you look at the A and the B's weight, and then with the backwards N on El Fonte here by Galar Studios, this actually has kind of an offset Greek feel to it as well. Little wonky. Let's see here. So I'm going to open that one up. I'm going to open this one up.
Let me see. Charlie says that Elefante thing got me reminded of Batman animated in the late 90s.
Ooh, yes, it does. I like that. Cardell, tell me to stop if I'm skipping past anything that you like, man. Or tell me to shut the hell up and eat a French fry.
Oh,
There's our wingdings.
I think we lost them. Yeah. Oh.
Let's see. I want to find at least a third one. And then don't worry, guys. We are not going to use a font as is.
Hey, Cardell's back. Okay. So Fry was just saying, go ahead and stop them if you see one that you actually like. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through them quickly, but
Oh, wait, that one has a really nice bevel to it.
Oh God, I hate you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you ever get an M. Scott Russell business card and the whole thing is beveled, you now know why.
Actually, I don't like them near as much as I make it out to. I just, once again, I send everything to them with a bevel on it, more to piss them off than anything else. This is love, man. Yeah.
That one at the bottom is abnormal.
What was that?
I was saying that one, the third one from the bottom.
Third one from the bottom?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
That's kind of crazy looking.
How many do you want to give the chat to choose from?
Four.
Choose 4. That's not poor Matt. That's fine.
You know, I got to say, I love my job. Half the time, I'm just pissing off people, and it's so great. It's so great. Now we're starting to get into more of the Western feel, which it doesn't really, I don't think, work too well.
Yeah, and one of the things that I did is I selected for it to just show
that one looks interesting.
Oh, dang it! Going back. Okay, down at the bottom?
Yep.
I'm going to go to the bottom and go back.
That one right there.
Very bottom.
Yep.
Very bottom it is. All right, ladies
and
gentlemen. Coming soon. Okay, let me do this. Let me see here. Make sure I'm not uncovering something that wasn't supposed to be shown during a chat.
See, I just remember a long time ago yelling at Jared over accidentally, slip of the tongue.
And then I do it. All right. So here's what we've got. We're going to label these 1, 2, 3, and 4, going clockwise, starting at the top left. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in chat, oh wait, that wasn't even clockwise. I'm a moron.
I didn't say anything. I was like, something seems off here.
I'm very tired. Okay, so let's try this again.
Amy says 1.
Okay, so we've got 1. We've got
Come
2.
on, everybody. We need to see some in the chat. What do we got?
We've got number 3. And number 4.
Personally, I like 2. Cardell, which one's your favorite?
I would say based off of where we're going. You said that mythical creatures become real, right?
Yes.
Okay, if you're talking about mythical, I would say 2, but I would say that I would like to play around with it more because I like the part on the A at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I love
tail?
that. Yeah, the tail. I love that.
Okay. So far in chat, we've got Amy Frazier voting for 1. We got Cardell Cole voting for 2. We got Charlie voting for 4. Oh wait, I think because I had confused everybody, I think this was one that Charlie was talking about. The Batman animated font. House Lorebridge doing 2 or 3. And Charlie again saying it looks all catchy. Well, Cardell is our guest of honor. So Cardell, top left, top right, bottom left, or bottom right? What do you say?
I would say that it's pretty much between the top 2. That's funny. Ha ha. Pun intended. Top 2. But yeah, I would say it's pretty much
time. Shameless plug time.
I would say that it's pretty much them 2 that catch my attention, and those 2 I would really like to play with.
Okay. So let's go back to chat then. Left or right, chat? And while we are doing that, what kind of programs do you like to use to mess with fonts, Cordell?
Because I generally like to draw them. It's a Manga Studio.
Okay.
I use Manga Studio for everything. And then, like, a lot of times, a lot of the fonts that I get off of Font Squirrel, it just incorporates right into Manga Studio, so it works out perfectly.
Very cool. Charlie says the 30 style font. Let's do it. And House Lorebridge says Houston. Could also be the one on the right. So that's 2 for Houston. That's got to be pretty good for Houston, right? What do you think, Editor-in-Chief?
I say go with the Houston. Although we do have 1 vote from Amy for I can't pronounce that.
Zulfigar?
Yeah,
Zulfigar.
I personally like the Houston, but that doesn't necessarily mean like with Morningstar, there is more than 1 font. So plus none of these are actually going to be just used straight like that's it. So
why not? I'm just kidding. Cardell's like, did you just said we were doing that? All right, let's see here. Let's check out how Houston looks. Houston's only got 1 font weight. Psh. What are you doing with your lives? What are you doing, Houston? Nice little note to everybody. If you ever Control-T and click and drag a font to resize it, the graphic design fairy will visit you in your sleep and beat you. Pretty sure it's related to the tooth fairy because both of them will take your teeth. I really like that. That is a clean font. All right. I do. Yeah, that's good stuff. That is good stuff. That's what I say. All right, Cardell. So I'm assuming at this point what I should do is hand Cardell this guy here. And Cardell, do you want to adjust it or change it or play with it? Or do you want me to do that in Photoshop here while you watch?
I'll say I'll let you go ahead and do it.
Well, that's no fun. All right, so let's see. If this were my baby, I would right align it. That way we can really bring out the tail on the A. I am addicted to kerning like no man's business. I really like how the word abnormal actually kerned there naturally, though. That O, just to tighten up just a bit there, like everything else. Actually, let's play with this. The O still seems a little bit off. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it does a little bit.
Oh, a little too deep. A little too deep. Back out. Back out. Oh, man.
What are you doing to us, man?
All right. So what if we offset these just a little bit for visual? What do you guys think? Now what I'm doing is I'm adding a space inside of Photoshop, and then I'm adjusting the kerning of the space in and out. And what that should do, even though it's not now for some reason, is that should actually slightly move abnormal and oddities back and forth. What we will actually do is I'm just going to make a second copy of this and hide it. Then I'm going to make 2 additional copies. What I'm going to do with these is I'm going to split the fonts apart. So one is going to just say oddities. The other is just going to say abnormal. Now what this is going to allow me to do is actually take these fonts and use them and move them independently from one another. As you can see, and what this is going to allow me to do is kind of fine tune the amount of kerning that I have between that O and the nice little curve to the bottom of the tail on the A.
So let me see. Amy on chat says something needs to be abnormal or odd. So let's get some suggestions going.
Okay.
My personal thing is after seeing that character design from Jeremy with the snake wrapping around the cane or the staff, I'm wondering about turning that swoosh on the A, like actually drawing it out and turning it into a snake. Just kind of spitballing something.
That could be cool. So that guy there. Let's see. Come on. Come on, change your font. So just right here.
Yeah.
Perfect. There you go. It's a snake. God, he's good.
Wow. Okay. Cardell, what would you suggest doing?
Was that not believable enough? I can.
No, that is.
Okay. There's an idea. Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay.
What about using the O as a time face for clock?
Oh. So that first O in abnormal already has that swoosh through it. Are you talking about the second O or that on line 2 or that first one?
Either one. What does everybody think? Let's find out. I mean, wasn't time supposed to be a part of the storyline?
Yeah.
They had no idea how long they've been adrift or whatnot. Yeah.
So just to kind of help make it abnormal, could we actually put a clock in there but have it reversed?
Yeah. Yeah, we can do that. You ready? You ready for this? Oh!
So like I have another question, Matt.
Yeah.
Just to reiterate, what what is it that makes the how should I say that what is it that makes the Fable characters real? Like, what happens that makes them real again?
So, what they're doing, let me see if I can pull up the Bible again. Okay.
Lorbridge on YouTube just mentioned the second O. So, because
Okay.
we're doing this from whatever the chat says, it's now the second O.
All right. Let me see. I pulled up the Bible. Okay. So we have the characters, and then let me scroll down here. Ooh, we have a lot of character information. Okay. So the plot. They leave Earth and essentially, let me see, working on a new drive, uses a huge amount of energy to make a sort of fold-like pocket dimension. An unexpected buildup of dark matter causes the ship to enter different realities. Okay. So originally the ship was designed to head to Mars and back in under 6 minutes by folding space and traveling at high speeds, making the trip equal to the speed of light. The dark matter sent them into an alternate reality. If they try to go back, it will send them into another of the infinite realities. So they are essentially lost. Now,
I can do so many things in 6 minutes, you guys. You'd be amazed.
I don't want to know. I want to make an inappropriate joke so bad. I'm sorry.
Don't.
I won't. I said I won't.
So here's what I hear is that what we need to do is go to the School of M. Scott Russell Graphic Design, which means we put everything into a group. We go into Bevel.
No.
Photoshop.
We add to mess with you, man.
Just enough depth to make things kind of weird. And we hit OK. And there we go. It's done, guys.
Drop the mic. Yeah.
Game over. You know what? You want me to get crazy with this thing?
God,
is that what you want?
No.
Huh? You want us to get a little loco? I'm gonna give it a little bit of a satin finish here. Okay, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do a nice little drop shadow.
Oh.
Yeah, fancy little drop shadow. But we're gonna put no size wreck on it, and we're gonna drop it off all even, just because. Because if we're gonna do this wrong, by God, I'm gonna make sure we do it wrong.
Yeah, that's definitely an abnormal oddity, but please no. God, no.
Make it stop. Okay, so we're gonna add the snake's tail. Just so that everybody's aware, we're already an hour and 40 minutes into this video. We try to keep these videos at about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we'll probably do this. We'll probably do this after video. So we're gonna work on the snake element. Are you thinking more of a tail? Or are you thinking more of a head?
See, I was thinking more of a head, but I guess the tail works just fine too. But okay. I think the head would make it a little bit more recognizable.
Good point. And then we've got the clock on the secondary O, which was mentioned. Who was it? House Lorbridge on YouTube says second O. OTGA says LOL. You like my design work, huh? Yeah. Let's see. Rob Boss, you mean copyright? House Lorbridge says Fry needs to be doing a Bob Ross impression here. I do. I put happy little shadows and bubbles on everything. Charlie says this title definitely feels like the Lackadaisy-esque aesthetic. Good catch, DA. So here's what I'm thinking. It's all, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, but correct me if I'm wrong. Let me word it that way. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all of the mythical creatures and elements are all based out of Greek mythology. Is that correct?
For the first story arc, yes, they will be based out of Greek mythology.
How many story arcs are you doing of this thing, dude?
Well, it could probably take close to a year before the first issue even gets done because we're going to be bringing creators and going step by step. So who knows? Who knows?
Right. Uh-huh.
Yo,
Okay. Okay. So we can incorporate that in. Let's see here. What about the weight? I offset the word oddities from abnormal just because I want that tail to be the tail of the A, the snake coming off, to be the main focus, and pulling oddities off on that right hand side. If you look, it'll balance out the weight with the hoop on the A. So I'm thinking that if we make it so that that's kind of curled around, that would be pretty sweet. I think another neat thing is that you immediately thought of the snake because it's an element of the book. What if every single cover excuse me, what if on every single cover you used that, that swoop, that horizontal line off of the A? What if you use that as a different element from the book? So for the first issue, it's the snake. For the next issue, it's something else that's got kind of a curve and different appeal to it.
Well, the first issue might incorporate more of just the science fiction aspect of it because it's setting up the rest of the story. So I'd almost want to do like a chemtrail or something like that off of a rocket. But you
talking about for the swoop?
Yes.
That's what I have an illustrative mindset, and that's what I was thinking, and I was starting to wonder if maybe that would be too much, because I was thinking about a chemtrail going into the O, because they go into a gate, I guess you said, a black matter, and they get pulled in.
Okay.
And so that was one idea I was thinking of, but I was in my mind I was trying to think, but would that be too much? Or because I got a very illustrative mindset, so my first ideas is like a bunch of stuff. It just be all over the place.
I don't think it would be too much at all.
Oh, let's do this. Add that as a secondary element here. Again, it's just so everybody knows, the reason I'm marking those things down is just as kind of notes, just because we're running out of time. Why are we running out of time? Because Matt likes to talk a lot.
It's totally my fault.
House Lowerbridge on YouTube says, I like how Cardell thinks.
Yeah.
It's true. He once said that I was his favorite person. He said
I love how he just makes stuff up and he's like, no, he said that. He totally did.
Joe Frazier on Facebook says, add tentacles to the list. Think correct.
Oh.
I like that as well.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. When there's that Poseidon issue. Oh, yeah. Kraken.
I got to write Kraken tentacles because if I just leave it tentacles, Matt gets ideas.
No, not me. If you remember the story right, it was Jared who was like, I have no idea what manga is, and he started looking it up and accidentally switched over into hentai, which
every time we go to a convention, Matt spends a lot of time in that one booth that has the curtain, if you know what I'm talking about. And every time he comes out, he's like, I had no idea. I was looking for the bathroom. For 4.5 hours with your wallet out?
Gee, that happened once. Okay, twice. But that was it.
Let's see here. Joe Fraser on Facebook says, and tentacles are a weird thing. That's true. Oddly comforting if you're Matt. Let's see. Blue One himself says, I got a dip. See you next stream, perhaps. Have a good one, streamers in chat. You have a good one, too. Thank you. Motidia says, anytime an in-depth explanation it's needed, it's a cover story. Jolly says, take care, Blue. Okay, so I'm loving the idea of the clock. I really like the Kraken tentacle idea. That could work out really well. That could also, I mean, it's kind of a space tail, featuring a tentacle as a part of the logo. Could actually cause issues with it being more recognizable as like aquatic or an underwater type of storyline element. So perhaps there's a way to involve tentacles with space.
Okay, I have an idea. So that top O, right there, you can turn into like that kind of gateway. Think of it as like a Stargate type design, right? You have all that swoop going into it. So that way you can have the chemtrails going into it. You can have kind of the snake going towards that. So we just kind of continue on with that slope. That way the clock, just being backwards would really kind of, start to mess with you a little bit. But I don't know that puts a lot of weight at the kind of beginning part of the Abnormal Oddities. Not a whole lot on the second half. So,
well, in chat here, OTDA says Space Kraken, new creature, breathes dark matter. And I don't know why, but I really kind of love that idea.
You know,
I know we're not talking about bad guys right now, but that could be a rad villain.
yeah.
You know that effect that I don't know if you know about the Final Fantasy logos, that effect that they have where they have the wording and then they have like in the background they have like some type of drawing in the background. You can have like a space kraken in the background of Abnormal Oddities, but you can make it so that it's what's the word I'm looking for? God darn it. Let me look at it's a certain word I'm trying to think of.
Perhaps it's similar to what Charlie is requesting on Twitch.
Like it fades in.
Charlie says Kraken tentacles with Squidward's nose for the memes. Sorry. So go ahead, Cardell.
Oh, God.
So I just looked up like Final Fantasy to kind of try to figure out what you were talking about exactly.
Let's see it. Bam! Oh, he found cookies.
Cookies.
Okay.
Did you find them? Oh.
So you're saying have characters and stuff behind it.
But like you could have like incorporate this space kraken in there somehow. But it's like it would be like a faded picture of the space kraken, so it won't like overtake the words too much or anything.
Okay. All right. So if we go back to the Abnormal Oddities. Okay. You're saying have like in this area right here, kind of the Kraken coming up and over. That would kind of balance everything out. Plus, be in the background and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Let's check here in chat. Amy says yes, a portal is needed. That could be pretty cool. The eye can be a Greek column. Like that. Joe Fraser says, I dig it. A space kraken would be a great enemy of sorts in the comic. And Amy Fraser says, by the way, I have Bob getting attacked by a space kraken. Dun, dun, dun! All right, ladies and gentlemen. So space kraken. So the tentacles are going to be kind of wrapping around, correct? The idea there?
Okay.
I'm asking, not telling. I'm asking. So they're going to start from up here. They're going to wrap around the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay. So we've got the clock. Does the clock still phase in with that?
Yes.
Okay. The snake, not so much, I'm assuming.
Not
right?
so much, but that O, the top O would be more of the portal.
And the top O would be the portal. All right. Well, let's do this. I'm a snake is going to move up here. We're going to change that note to just be a portal. Okay.
Okay.
We've got a portal. We've got a clock. We've got Kraken tentacles. We've got a chemtrail still. Yes or no?
Say let's skip the chemtrails.
Okay.
But it's once again up to chat. If you tell us nope, keep it, we'll do it. Now, Cardell had suggested adding the Kraken to the back on the right-hand side.
Okay.
Much like the Final Fantasy type sketches.
If you want, you can still use that the tail from the A as a chemtrail, make it like swirl around and make the ship at the end of the chemtrail to make it appear as if the Kraken is chasing after the ship or something.
Oh. Ooh.
And include that in.
Mhm.
No, on the other side. The big old Kraken
yeah.
on the other side.
So have that kind of hanging off of the right-hand side there, wrapping around the entire thing.
Okay.
And then we are bringing back chemtrails.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm assuming that the rocket would be flying up into the portal.
Yes.
Something like that. Okay. Let's see here. I had
ODTA says alien fingers.
Let's see. I had a ridiculous rocket somewhere. Trying to remember. I think I ended up swapping it out for a hot dog. Remember? I make some weird stuff, guys.
The TCT hot dog in space.
Yeah.
That was a great night. That was a great night.
Let's see. Charlie says RPG rocket. I think the idea is more of a spacecraft rocket, but there haven't been any sketches of what that rocket would look like. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Fry stuff, and I'm going to make it look like pop art because it's all Fry knows to do anymore. It's all I've got. Seriously, I do not remember the last time I just actually came up with something. So, okay, here we go. You all ready? You guys ready for this one?
Let's see it.
Bam!
All right. That'll give us a good indication.
So whatever you want, man. Pop art's coming back. I'm telling y'all right now, okay?
I say leave it in there. So yeah, there we go. So that way we can tell.
Yeah, so essentially what this is, just so that everybody's aware, is we're just running notes in real time. You're going to end up throwing a whole bunch of stuff at it. Normally there's a lot of coffee on here, a little bit of blood, a lot of Matt's tears.
And
then what you do is you take that kind of back to your drawing table and you just start sketching up ideas. Or if you're on a digital device, a very popular thing is to actually just hang it off the bottom of your monitor and just start cycling ideas over and over and over. Eventually different elements will start sticking. You'll start kind of falling in love with specific things. You'll start hating things like we were talking about earlier. And you build yourself a title card.
Yeah.
Superstar.
All right. So should we call it?
Yeah, I think maybe there's probably a part 2 of this episode.
Oh yeah,
later on or something.
Of course. All right. Well, that's going to be it for us today. Once again, I've had a lot of fun. I would like to thank our special guest, both Cardell Cole and Andrew Fry. So thank you so much again, and stay tuned. Friday, 7 p.m. Right, Mountain Standard Time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
that's 6 for me, right?
Yes. We have Cardell Cole again, but we're going to be doing the spotlight with Jared. So If you like this video, make sure you smash that like button like you're the freaking Hulk. If you didn't like the video,
make sure you tell Matt.
I'm sorry. Either way, thanks for staying.
No, just let Matt know.
Yeah, just let me know. Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and put his personal address in the chat so you can.
I will wreck you, dude.
Okay.
Okay. So once again, this entire comic series is, coming to you guys straight from your heads. And of course we have amazing guests like Cardell Cole that kind of help us along. So thank you once again. All right. So until next time, stay passionate and have fun.
See you, everybody.